Okay, guys, I gave you an update on my keto plan and how things were going a couple days ago. So I have completed week 1. Like I said, I am keeping a Google sheet with various points of information. My weight every day, the carb intake per my pump, the insulin usage, both basal and bolus rate for those days, and how many steps I have. I've started doing my blood pressure just so that way I can see if there is a difference, because it is sometimes elevated. Let me pivot you guys over a little. Okay. So we started the keto process on May 17th with a weigh-in of 300.6 pounds. Day 1's carb intake was 10 grams. Total insulin usage for day 1 was 110.325, with 93.875 units of basal and 16.45 units of bolus. Keeping that in mind, Monday, a week later, 5/24 of 21, weight was 290.8, carb intake was 23 grams, insulin usage for the day, 59.75 units, with 53.25 units being basal and 6.5 being boluses. That's almost a 50% reduction in insulin usage in a week. Let that sink in, because that is astonishing to me. At just the change of that. I'm excited about the 10 pounds, but I know the majority of that's probably water weight. Towards the end of the week, I've started to lose about around a pound a day, or a little less than that. So I'm not as concerned about the weight, but my primary goal in doing this was to try to reduce insulin usage while still maintaining my blood sugar, so that way the weight can come off. And that is working the way I want it to. The insulin usage getting reduced is a big difference than I actually expected. I was kind of surprised at how quickly that dropped about midweek. I'm not having any keto flu symptoms since Saturday. I'm recording this on Tuesday. It's fine. As far as my morning appetite, there's not really any. I can eat something small like a stick of beef jerky or 2 cheese sticks. That's literally about all I can manage. I kind of feel a little nauseous. I did have a breakfast bowl from Chick-fil-A yesterday with grilled chicken, cheese, and eggs. I didn't have the hash browns in there. And a fruit cup. That was the biggest item I've had for breakfast all week. And I just had that because I happened to be up really early. And it was my first day on a night shift. So I was up majority of the day, and then I ate my large salad for dinner to get me through my 10-hour shift at work. So that's kind of my plan for that. So I'm kind of a little shocked. So I kind of was curious at what my insulin usage was when I was diagnosed. So thanks to my mom being a nurse and keeping everything, literally, I found the binder. I do have it here at my house, and I got to flipping through some old medical records. And when I was diagnosed, 10/1 of 2010, I weighed 189 pounds at a height of 5'7". So I'm about 5 inches taller than I was when I was diagnosed at the age of 16. Yeah, 16. I had to think about it for a second. I'm getting old. Anyway, so when I was diagnosed, I started out with injections. In the mornings with my injections, I would take 35 units of Novolin mixed with 5 units of Novolog. And then if I needed to, I had a sliding scale that was 2 units of insulin for my sugar, 200, 250, 4 units for 250 to 350, and 6 units for above. So I would use the sliding scale if needed. I very rarely needed it. And then for dinner, I would take a second injection of 15 units of Novolin and 10 units of Novolog. So the total for the injections was, with both of the insulins together, was 65 units a day. And yesterday I used 59.75. That's a little astonishing for me. I went through and dug through some more information from when I started my pump. When I was on my pump, the Omnipod, in 2012, I had a carb ratio of 15 grams of carbs per. Anyway, so my carb ratio on the Omnipod was 15 grams of carbs per 1 unit of insulin. The basal rates was 28.8 units of insulin for a 24-hour period, which I'm not quite down to that yet. So I'm curious to see over the upcoming weeks if I will get to that point. That will be kind of amazing to me if I get to the point of where I was. My A1C when I was on the Omnipod was 7.2. Currently, I've been around 6.9 for about a year. My last readings were 7.1. My time in range for the past week with the 770G has been 98%, with 2% of that being high. Most of the days were 98% time in range. I had one day that was 2% low. And then I had, I think, 3 or 4 days of last week, I think 3, were 100% time in range. So for most days, I'm able to maintain 100% time in range. If I'm kind of experimenting with some things, I don't really know what the carbs are in them. I think that it's not much, and then I'll eat. And if my sugar starts to rise, then I'll program for 10 to 20 grams of carbs, depending on what it was that I had. And then I bring it down. So in doing that, I have had a couple of times where I've popped up between 180. I don't think I've been over 200 in the past week. If I did, it was for a very, very, very brief moment. It hasn't been for any long period of time. Typically, I believe I'm in the 180s. I don't think I've seen 200 or 190. So it'll be cool to kind of see how things continue to process, and I'll keep you guys updated. See you next week.